The early 90s was a strange time. America had just won the Cold War, gas was cheap, sitcom dads still drove sedans, and Chrysler, flush with minivan money and executive confidence, looked at the large luxury sedan market and said,
"You can do it!"
What followed was one of the boldest sedan experiments Detroit ever attempted, the LH platform. Several cars, one philosophy, zero idea that SUVs and crossovers were about to destroy everything. Welcome to Auto Chatter, where facts, opinion, and speculation will be given. Give a like if you enjoyed it, please, and let us begin. 1993, the LH platforms arrive. The Dodge Intrepid, Chrysler Concorde, and Eagle Vision. The design was cab-forward architecture, wheels shoved to the corners, massive windshield, dual airbags before some competitors, and interior space that shocked reviewers. Truth was, Chrysler had quite the head start with the platform. Jeep was the prize they were after when they acquired AMC in 1987, but their ties and projects with Renault turned out some mystery gifts too. One example, the Renault 25 was adopted into a large sedan by AMC called the Eagle Premier. The original plans Chrysler had were scrapped for their next-gen larger sedans after the AMC takeover because of this car. Many former AMC people like Francois Castaigne was kept at Chrysler, and he was made vice president of product engineering and development. The unusual longitudinal engine layout for a front-wheel drive car, front suspension geometry, and even parts of the braking system was adopted from the Eagle Premier. Now, the Audi-like styling of the Premier was not, as Chrysler as far back as 1986 started Project Navajo. By 1987, a concept car hit the public called the Lamborghini Portofino. Chrysler used the Navajo for the basis for this Italian concept, and they owned Lamborghini then, so this was keeping everything in the family, so to speak. The result was a fairly short gestation period for the LHS sedans, about 2.5 years start to finish. But what's with the name LHS anyway? A clever-sounding, meaningless mangle of letters? No, that's what cars do today more often than not. It stood for Last Hope Sedan, because Chrysler felt this would be their last shot to make an impact on the large sedan market. Hindsight tells us it wasn't, of course. But the car mags at the time were impressed, stating things like this feels like the future. At a time when Jurassic Park was coming out, Bill Clinton had that saxophone energy and fax machines were still thriving. Engines for the new cars was a 3.3-liter V6 with 153 ponies or a larger 3.5-liter with 214. Pricing on the Intrepid, $17,000 or so to start, about $37,000 today. The Concorde started around $20,000 or $43,000 now, and the Vision $19,500 or $42,000 in today's bucks. Sales-wise, the first year, about $300,000 combined, and Chrysler immediately knew they had a hit. All three cars were similar under the skin, but with different levels of equipment and target audiences. The Concorde, naturally, was the luxurious one. Chrysler's new Eagle brand had the Vision, which, let's call it Pontiac adjacent import alternative. The final one was the Intrepid. This would be the everyman's model. Plymouth at one point was going to get one too, called Accolade, because the name resembled a claim a bit, I guess. Its positioning would have been basically an Intrepid with less standard and optional stuff. Accolade didn't make the cut though.
You're fired.
Now for 94, the Chrysler LHS debuts as the flagship. It had leather, stretched wheelbase, infinity sound system, bucket front seats, automatic climate control, and wood trim that was pretending very hard. The engine was the larger 3.5-liter V6 with 214 horses. Price on one of these started about $28,500 or about $59,000 today. Yeah, Chrysler priced this against the Lexus ES and Acura Legend with absolute confidence. Sales peak across the lineup and the executives smile. The slightly confused would-be buyers, but also introduce a New Yorker LHS clone. It too rode on the longer wheelbase like the LHS, but had less standard equipment like no alloy wheels, leather, and had a front bench seat. In base form, it was advertised as a more traditional 6-passenger domestic luxury sedan, but you could add options like the touring package and equip it pretty closely to the LHS. The price started about $5,000 less than the LHS at the time, which was more like $11,000 now, but more buyers saw the LHS and just picked it instead. This final New Yorker lasts only 2 model years. Too much LH confusion choices in the showroom, poor sales, and Chrysler figuring it was best to ditch the stodgy old domestic sedan image the once proud nameplate would have been known for. Chrysler still addressed the would-be New Yorker buyer later, wanting a car with a column shifter and 6-passenger seating, by offering it on LHS for $96 and $97. Now by $95, this would be considered the high water mark. Engines are unchanged, the ride still floaty, quiet, and designed for interstate cruising and emotional distance. Pricing now for an Intrepid was about $18,500 or $38,500 today. Concorde $22,500 to start or $47,000 now, and the LHS $29,500 or so now we're talking about $60,000 today. Total sales about $370,000 combined, and this is Chrysler's sedan's victory lap. Friends was also dominating television. CDs are replacing cassettes, and Lexus doesn't seem too concerned yet. But by '96, the first cracks start to form. Nothing changes too much, which is exactly the problem. I mean, Chrysler did offer auto stick for the first time on fancier ES Intrepid and Vision TSIs. This turned your automatic transmission to a slap shift affair, where you could move it left or right to either shift up or down the gears. Maybe some played around with it, but most left it in drive and forgot about it. Meanwhile, the Japanese luxury sedans, they were smoother, better built, and less Chrysler. Still, sales for the LH remained fairly strong. Now, by '97, the Eagle Vision is discontinued. Not because it was bad, but because Eagle as a brand quietly disappears after '98, and only the sporty Talon was available that final year. Poor Eagle never really found its place. A lot of the lineup could also be had as a Mitsubishi, and early on you could buy an AMC Eagle wagon or a Medallion, which was basically a Renault 21. Both of these cars were leftovers from AMC's acquisition, as the Eagle brand itself was basically what was left of them without Jeep. Chrysler didn't seem too enthusiastic about the division right from the start, as it was created more of a necessity on what to do with AMC, like meeting contractual obligations with Renault as they sold AMC to them, and Jeeps couldn't just start being sold at Chrysler stores, or now former AMC ones. But for '98, major updates were made across all the LH cars that were left. For '98, that would be the Concorde and Intrepid, as they got a full redesign and came out slightly larger. Base engines were now a 2.7-liter dual overhead cam V6, good for 200 horsepower. A cool engine design on paper, but became known for oil sludge as the years went on. One of the biggest reasons was the water pump gasket could fail, leading to coolant mixing in with the oil. Anyway, optional was a 225-horse V6. Concorde had a 253-horse 3.5-liter available too. The interiors had better materials, theoretically, updated electronics that could be problematic. Pricing in '98 for an Intrepid started about $20,500 or $39,000 today. The Concorde was $24,000 to start, or close to $46,000 in today's money. The sharp decline of the sales, though, began, and SUVs are officially winning. By '99, it was pretty obvious that the Ford Explorer became a large enemy. But now the LHS returns in second-gen form after taking a year or so off. It's still large and in charge, and has the most standard equipment of all of these. This is the traditional luxury car choice. A newcomer with an old name also appears for '99, the Chrysler 300M. This was one that was created as a sportier import fighter. kind of the same mission the Eagle Vision was attempting to do. Not surprising, really, as the car was originally developed as the next Vision, but with Eagle gone, it just became another Chrysler option. It was shorter than the other LHS sedans too, as it was sold in Europe and it had to fit a maximum length parameter. The car itself shared the same wheelbase, and they shortened the overhangs front and rear to make it work. The name was derived from Chrysler's 300 line, and the last they left off in 1964 it was a 300L, so they used the next letter in the alphabet and called it a day. Both the new LHS and 300M started the same in price then, about $29,000 or $56,400 now. In other 99 LH sedan news, Intrepid gets a RT version with the 3.5 V6 good for 242 ponies. But LH sedans are now kind of seen as old-fashioned, less exciting, less profitable. SUVs and even some of the earlier crossovers were becoming more compelling options. Wonder how long that trend will last. By 2000, Chrysler keeps the LHS alive. Barely. Specs pretty much the same. Meanwhile, BMW sells sport, Lexus sells reliability, and Cadillac sells nostalgia. By 2000, an LHS is now $32,200 to start, or about $57,000 now. And for 01, the LHS quietly exits the room. Final sales was only about 9,000 units. No farewell editions, no celebrations, just lease returns and silence. But the platform lives on, though, with the Dodge Intrepid, Chrysler Concorde, and 300M. Concorde gets the now discontinued LHS looks and offers a Concorde Limited trim if you wanted to fast forward clicking a lot of option boxes over a standard Concorde. Limited ones have the large 3.5 V6 standard, among many other things. Essentially, Chrysler consolidated the two models into one. Intrepid isn't having an easy go of it either, as by 2002, the car itself gets a bit of decontenting to save on production. Nothing major, it still has seats front and rear, but people noticed. Second-gen Intrepids were also marketed and sold to a lot of fleet buyers, including police packages from 02 to 04. Fleet sales often lead to low resale values later, and the models equipped with the 2.7 V6 wasn't helping matters. 300M gets a few limited editions like a golf-oriented 2002 Pro-Am model, and even came with some limited edition golf clubs. 04 was the more strange, to me, Platinum series. They only came in 3 special shades of silver, gray, or black, and it was loaded up equipment-wise. The weird part was it was to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Caravan, Town & Country, and Voyager. Sebring, Town & Country, and PT Cruiser had their own Platinum series that year too. Why not just make a Platinum version of the minivans that year and call all these others something else? Anyway, the writing is now on the wall. Sales were steadily collapsing. Sedans lose cultural relevance. Pop culture-wise, DVDs are replacing VHS, iPods appear, and America wants ride height. And finally, the LH platform is retired. Chrysler then pivots hard. Rear-wheel drive, aggressive styling, and Mercedes influence in platform. Enter the 300, Dodge Magnum, and Dodge Charger. Everything the LHR cars were not. They were something positive the Daimler-Benz era gave the world at least, and certainly warrant their own chatter. But the LH sedans are remembered as spacious, comfortable, boldly styled, and mechanically okay. They weren't bad cars, they were simply perfect for a moment that vanished. For that one shining moment, Chrysler believed sedans could still rule America, with space, optimism, and design. The LHR cars, they didn't fail. America just climbed higher. Anyway, this has been my LH sedan chatter, and I hope you enjoyed it. Leave that like, please, if so. And until next time, I'll be keeping the headlights on for you, and chatter out.